those discussions like I know you guys do every day, or it seems like at least once a week on, we have all these things that we're trying to bring together as far as, we have data on premises. Maybe we're a data on premise company, but, now these days, at least Salesforce or something else that they're trying to connect to and need to bring in to do more analytics is in the cloud only. And so they have to be able to connect to that, or we have a lot of customers who are wanting to move to cloud and have needs and use cases to move to clouds, but they still have, a legacy on-prem data sources, or they're wanting to bring in streaming data sources. Being able to capture that, whether you're talking about a full MDM solution, or you're talking about like we did last time with data virtualization, whatever your use case is, being able to do that in a one. And I love the word fabric for that. One fabric brings all those tools together is very needed. And like I said, being able to capture all those things in one architecture that you're working on. So I appreciate that. That's great. Even for me being able to hear some more about some of those products. What we wanted to do next is kind of talk to you about some of the conversations we've had around the same area. Just like I mentioned before, with clients who may have on-premise installation, their data management stuff, but they want to be able to connect to, some of their vendors that are using cloud or pulling streaming data and those type of things, and give you a feel for what some of those conversations. We're not going to use, the full name, as far as the clients we're working with, those types, but some of the conversations that we've had in use cases around that, we want to go through about, I think 3 or 4 Dax has put together, kind of talk about those and individually, kind of go through them. And Dax, I was told to tell you that the polls are working, so you should be good to go on those. I know like you said earlier, we had some hiccups, but it looks like everything is working on that. Awesome. So you should be good to go on that. I'll let you kind of take over and again, run us through some real world use cases that we've been working on, and then we can kind of continue on from there.
Awesome. Sharing screen in a second. Tim, you can see the screen, right?
I can see you, Dax.
Okay, all right. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Tim, for a quick summary, and thank you, Jeff, for product stack walkthrough. Every customer's data journey is unique. I'm planning to do this as an interactive session. I'm going to display questions. You will have few seconds to answer each. I will also be sharing few interesting data assessments and implementations we have done. Question number 1, can TIBCO data virtualization replace data warehouse for web focus reports? Your time starts now. Let's see what everyone has answered. %62% replied as yes, and 38% replied as no. The right answer is yes, but it is on a case-by-case basis. The first assessment I'm sharing was done for a logistics customer. We look for symptoms from a 360 angle and not just specific to TIBCO tools. And this customer's symptoms were data available in different applications in different format. The process of integrating them was complicated. Their on-premise web focus could no longer handle growing number of users. And since they were a big organization, there are multiple teams having their own application, and data integration became complex and challenging. Their data in warehouse continues to grow, and they could no longer support it. To solve their pain points, we built a custom solution by harnessing the power of TIBCO data virtualization in Amazon Cloud. We also migrated web focus from their on-premise to cloud. By doing that, data is available through a single virtual layer now without moving data from on-premise to cloud. Since this solution is in cloud, it is highly scalable for both their data and for their web focus needs, and it requires less IT involvement. And the TIBCO data virtualization enabled a no nightly batch run process. So the data was not replicated in data mart or warehouse anymore. And as a value add, the end user gets access to real-time data, which was not the case before. Question number 2. What problems does TIBCO EBX solve? Your time starts now. Let's see what the answers are. %9 replied avoid data silos, 15% replied data governance, 3% replied improve customer satisfaction, and 74% replied all the above. The right answer is all the above. Moving on to the next one. This assessment was done for a retail customer. Important symptoms were data quality and no data governance. They were not able to stop bad data from entering their system either. In addition to this, data was across systems and each had its own version of truth. They wanted a single solution with no additional infrastructure cost involved. I mean, we are allowed to reuse what they have, but we are not allowed to, add more infrastructure cost. Their data was split between on-premise and cloud. They were also trying to fix systems integration using Azure Service Bus, but were not successful. We built a consolidated data repository in Data Lake Gen 2, leveraged their existing Azure Service Bus, and loaded data to Data Lake from all their application data in cloud. We also enabled TIBCO EBX to coexist in their Azure ecosystem, with EBX handling data quality, master data management, and data governance. We left their on-premise data as is, since we did not find a value add for migrating to cloud. So it became a hybrid solution. By doing that, the team was enabled to manage, govern, and consume all key data assets from one place. We built a flexible and scalable architecture, which is not domain specific. So users can model any master data without looking for a separate solution. Since it is a hybrid solution, we minimized implementation cycle and customer did not incur any additional infrastructure cost and support requirements. Question number 3. Are you still managing your metadata on-premise? Let's see the answers. %67 replied yes, and 33% replied no. And this is going to be the final question. Where do you manage your data repository? Your time starts now. And there is no right or wrong here. Let's see what the answers are. %32% on-premise, 14% cloud, and 54% replied both. The third assessment I'm sharing was done for a non-profit organization who has been a long-time web-focused customer. Their biggest symptoms was that each system had its own way of storing information between on-premise and cloud. Their warehouse had multiple versions of similar data, creating mismatch in reporting. On top of this, over a period of time, multiple integration teams developed their own pipelines without having a mapping logic or standards in place, and they lost track of what data is from what source system. All these created miscommunications, resulting in errors and decreased productivity. I mean, this can hurt. A custom solution was built to address their symptoms. We implemented TIBCO data virtualization in on-premise, and with Secure Agent, we enabled TIBCO cloud metadata in Azure Cloud. TDV was functioning as metadata harvesting and as a data virtual application. We also created a catalog in TCI, which enabled cross-department collaboration. Despite being in Azure Cloud, which has a data catalog service, the customer still liked all-in-one TCM approach here. By doing that, a centralized repository was created in cloud, which became a single source of truth. The project delivery timelines was reduced by almost half. And data catalog also enabled self-service users to leverage true value of data. From what we have seen, in most cases, self-service users are actually power users who understand their data and their applications really well. It also improved communication between business and IT teams, as they all use single source of metadata repository now. We have been doing assessments and solutioning for about 20 years now. One thing that has been consistent in how we deliver solutions is to keep it simple, closer to what customer would need from a near to long term, and not over-engineer it. Thank you. Tim, over to you.